When Joe Flacco walked out of that Browns meeting, he didn't just walk away from a quarterback competition. He walked straight into controversy. The shock decision to bench a Super Bowl MVP in favor of an untested rookie wasn't just bold. It was risky, messy, and, according to some inside the building, inevitable. The Browns have officially named rookie Shedeur Sanders as their starting quarterback, and the fallout has been immediate. The decision was delivered in a closed-door team meeting, which sources say quickly turned tense. Flacco, who had been operating under the belief that his leadership and experience would give him the early season nod, reportedly exited the room without speaking, canceled media availability, and left the facility. One witness said you could see the disbelief all over his face. For fans, this was a reason to celebrate. For the locker room, it was a bombshell. This isn't just shifting names on a depth chart. It's a philosophical upheaval. A clear statement: past achievements mean nothing. Performance is all that matters. Coaches insist the decision was based solely on merit. According to multiple insiders, Shedeur outpaced Flacco across every meaningful category during camp: accuracy, red zone efficiency, leadership, and poise. One assistant allegedly said, "We tried to come up with reasons not to start him. Couldn't find one." But here's the danger. All eyes are now on Stefanski, the head coach who made the call. In benching a decorated veteran for a rookie, no matter how promising, he has tied his career to what happens next. If Shedeur shines, Cleveland could finally escape its quarterback curse. But if he stumbles, the whole thing could collapse. Locker room tension, organizational pressure, fan expectations, national attention. This is no longer just about quarterback play. It's about control. And what comes next could change everything. Just hours before the decision dropped, no one inside Browns HQ expected anything this drastic. The quarterback room had been tightly guarded all offseason. Coaches stayed vague, players kept quiet, and Flacco, being the veteran, carried himself like the assumed starter. Even insiders believed the team would ease Shedeur Sanders into the league gradually, using Flacco as a temporary bridge. That was the plan. At least it looked that way, until it wasn't. Sources say the atmosphere in the building shifted overnight. Coaches had reportedly been meeting late into the evening in recent days. Statistical breakdowns, practice film, leadership, assessments, preseason efficiency comparisons. Every variable was on the table. And then, unanimously, they made their call. Shedeur Sanders would start, effective immediately. The announcement came suddenly, during a team-only meeting behind closed doors. It wasn't leaked. It wasn't hinted at. It blindsided nearly everyone, especially Flacco. But for head coach Kevin Stefanski, this wasn't just a football decision. It was a culture shift. The statement was clear. The Browns aren't waiting anymore. No more learning curves. No more developmental timelines. If you can play, you play. And Shedeur? The coaches believe he's already that guy. Reports say Stefanski didn't sugarcoat it. He stood in front of the team and told them flat out, Sanders owned this spot. Performance ruled. Politics didn't. Name value didn't. Resume didn't. And this time, there would be no debates. Cleveland has witnessed enough quarterback chaos over the years to last 2 lifetimes. But this wasn't panic. This was strategic, calculated, almost ruthless. What's still not clear is whether that decision came from Stefanski alone, or if someone higher up gave a little push. Because not long after the rookie was named QB1, murmurs started swirling, not about football, but about business. And that's where things get a lot more complicated. So what exactly did Shedeur Sanders do to leapfrog a Super Bowl winning veteran? According to coaches, pretty much everything. Throughout training camp and preseason, Shedeur didn't just show flashes, he owned the field. His completion percentage hovered near 70%. His touchdown to interception ratio was one of the cleanest of any rookie in league-wide preseason action. On third down, he moved the chains like a 10-year vet. And in red zone drills, he was reportedly operating at nearly 80% efficiency. That's not just impressive. That's unheard of for a guy who hadn't taken a single NFL snap until weeks ago, but the numbers only tell part of the story. What really turned heads was his command. Coaches describe practices where veteran defenders, guys with Pro Bowl experience, were left shaking their heads. One unnamed corner reportedly said, "He's making throws that 10-year starters don't even try." It wasn't just his arm, it was his awareness, his timing, his ability to manipulate defenders and adjust mid-play. Every time the staff tried to poke holes in his game, he closed them fast. Behind the scenes, insiders say the coaches kept trying to justify keeping Flacco in the lead. His leadership, his experience, what he brings in terms of locker room stability. But the more they measured camp performance head-to-head, the harder it was to ignore what was right in front of them. In private, one Browns assistant reportedly admitted, "We looked for reasons not to go with the rookie. We couldn't find one. Not one." Still, this wasn't just a performance decision. It was a statement. The Browns are prioritizing potential over pedigree, hunger over history. It's a bold approach in a league that usually rewards caution, but not everyone bought in, and some didn't take the news well. Especially the guy who thought the job was already his. Joe Flacco didn't just lose the starting job, he lost it without warning. Multiple sources inside the facility say Flacco's reaction was immediate and visible. The second the announcement was made, he didn't speak, didn't nod, didn't look at Shedeur. He got up, walked out of the team meeting without saying a word, canceled his scheduled media availability, and left the facility without addressing his teammates. One staff member described him as looking completely blindsided, and maybe he was. Throughout camp, Flacco had carried himself like the presumed starter. He'd been told, directly, according to insiders, that his veteran presence gave the team a competitive edge to start the season. In press conferences, he spoke confidently about leadership, about weathering adversity, and mentoring young players while guiding the offense through Week 1. So when Stefanski made the pivot, it wasn't just disappointing, it felt personal. Reports say Flacco requested a private meeting with Stefanski almost immediately. And when it happened, it wasn't quiet. According to those familiar with the conversation, Flacco challenged Stefanski outright, questioning how the evaluation was made, what criteria were prioritized, and even accusing the staff of miscommunication leading up to the decision. He brought numbers, practice stats, efficiency breakdowns, film observations, everything he could to make his case that he had earned at least the first start of the year. One witness said the exchange, while professional, was undeniably intense. Flacco felt disrespected, not for being beaten out, but for how it happened. For not being told earlier. For being, in his eyes, kept in the dark. Stefanski reportedly stood firm, pointing to a singular goal, doing whatever gave the Browns the best shot to win now. But inside that veteran QB room, the damage may have already been done. And if one moment can fracture trust, this was it. Flacco's reaction didn't just ripple through the quarterback room. It sent shockwaves through the entire locker room. Within hours of the announcement, key veterans on the offensive unit reportedly called an informal players-only meeting. The purpose? To get in front of the divide they all knew was coming. Because whether anyone admitted it or not, the team was suddenly split into two camps. On one side, players excited about Shedeur's talent and the spark he brings to what's been a stale offense. Younger guys in particular started voicing support for the move, saying it was time for something fresh. On the other, players loyal to Flacco, who saw his leadership last season, his preparation and effort, couldn't shake the feeling that he'd been tossed aside too quickly. Inside sources say the meeting was tense but productive. A clear message was set. No matter what you think personally, the team comes first. Coaches can't force unity. That has to come from inside the locker room. And if Sanders was going to succeed, tearing the team apart before week 1 wasn't an option. Quarterbacks coach Alex Van Pelt has reportedly been walking a tightrope ever since, trying to keep everyone on the same page while mentoring two QBs with very different mindsets and wildly different future roles. He's now navigating a broken mentorship model, trying to help a rookie grow while managing the frustration of a veteran who feels betrayed. Meanwhile, Stefanski has made it clear, the decision is final. No waffling, no media games. Shedeur is the starter, and anyone not behind that can either get on board or get out of the way. It's a strong message, but strong messages don't guarantee chemistry. And based on what's happening behind closed doors, chemistry might be the one thing Stefanski just can't control. While the locker room scrambled to stay united, the fans already made up their minds. The second the news broke, Cleveland lit up. Sports bars cheered like it was a playoff win. Social media couldn't keep up. Posts featuring Shedeur Sanders in a Browns uniform instantly went viral, including one now iconic tweet. "We didn't draft Prime's son to watch him hold a clipboard. QB1, period." Within hours, season ticket holders began calling the organization to express support. Fans weren't just on board, they were celebrating. Years of misery at quarterback, endless letdowns, burned first-round picks. Clevelanders had seen it all. But now, this felt different. This felt hopeful. And let's be honest, that kind of energy matters. Because no matter how much organizations talk about football decisions, fans move the needle. Excitement sells tickets. Confidence sells jerseys. And Shedeur, his jersey is already climbing the charts. Endorsement calls? Flooding in. That wave of hype isn't stopping at local borders either. ESPN, NFL Network, FS1, they all ran the story front and center. Most painted it one of two ways, an epic mistake in the making, or the start of something massive. Either way, what had been an internal team decision was now national news. And with that new spotlight came new pressure. Some wondered, was this really Stefanski's call? Or was someone from the top, maybe ownership, nudging things in that direction? Because as the attention grew, so did another question that no one in Cleveland has quite answered yet. Was this about football? Or does Shedeur Sanders represent something much bigger? A brand shift, a franchise reboot, and a marketing dream the Browns couldn't afford to leave on the bench. And if ownership was involved, the story takes a very different turn. Behind the football reasons and locker room chatter, something else was happening. Sources close to the organization have floated a theory that's becoming harder to ignore. This might not have been Stefanski's decision alone. According to league insiders, Browns owner Jimmy Haslam was more than just aware of the quarterback battle. He was emotionally invested in it. Not because of football mechanics or coaching tape, but because of what Shedeur Sanders represents. This wasn't just a player, it was primetime son. Young, magnetic, headline-grabbing, a walking brand. One NFL executive even called him a marketer's dream in football cleats. And for a team often buried in national coverage, the commercial opportunity was impossible to ignore. Reports say Haslam didn't give a direct order, but made his preference crystal clear. Private conversations between Haslam, Stefanski, and GM Andrew Berry reportedly included heavy emphasis on Shedeur's national buzz, what his success could mean for the Browns brand, and how his rise could elevate Cleveland's relevance off the field. Publicly, the Browns claimed the choice was 100% performance-based, but the timing makes things murky. Stefanski had preached patience for months, then pulled the plug on Flacco in one meeting. No slow roll, no transition period, just a full switch, immediate, inevitable. And that makes one thing clear. Whether he made the call independently or not, Stefanski now owns it entirely. Because with Shedeur as the starter, Stefanski's future is officially on the line. If the rookie delivers, Stefanski looks like a visionary. But if this goes south, fast, he's the fall guy. That's not just a gamble on a quarterback. That's betting your career on a 21-year-old playing his first NFL snap. And with Week 1 looming, there's no backing out now. Cleveland's decision wasn't just heard in Ohio. It sent shockwaves through front offices around the league. Because what Stefanski just did, starting an unproven rookie over a decorated veteran in a win-now environment, could signal the beginning of a trend. More and more NFL teams are looking at the economics of rookie quarterbacks and realizing something. You don't win in this league by waiting anymore. Not when a rookie contract costs 1/3 of what a mid-tier veteran demands. Not when guys like C.J. Stroud, Justin Herbert, and even Dak Prescott in his rookie year showed they could thrive without years on the bench. Shedeur's rise could become a blueprint or a cautionary tale. If he succeeds, it opens the floodgates. Teams with promising rookies may stop playing it safe. They might start pushing young talent into starter roles faster than ever, building entire rosters around cheap QB deals and spending big everywhere else. Think offensive firepower, better protection, lockdown corners, all made possible by rookie salary cap flexibility. And rest assured, GMs are watching. NFL insiders are already reporting that team executives are closely studying Cleveland's approach. Not just because of Shedeur's name, but because of how the Browns are restructuring their offense to suit him. More motion, faster reads, optionality, vertical pressure, a playbook that leans into a modern, mobile QB strengths. This isn't just about one quarterback battle. It's about a new way of thinking. Shedeur could be the first of many rookies asked to lead before they've even settled into a locker. But there's one major risk. If he struggles out of the gate, the entire philosophy gets questioned. And in a copycat league like the NFL, one failure signals caution to 31 other teams. So now, the whole league is watching Cleveland carefully. Beyond the headlines, hype, and debate, there's a 21-year-old facing one of the highest pressure debuts in NFL history. And by all accounts, Shedeur Sanders is ready for it. Sources close to the team say Shedeur took the news of his promotion with quiet composure. He didn't spike a football or give a speech. He reportedly made one short phone call to his father, Deion Coach Prime Sanders, and then went straight back to film study. That calm demeanor isn't an act, it's routine. Since arriving in Cleveland, Shedeur has earned a reputation as one of the hardest working players in the building. Teammates say he's always the first one in, the last one out. Coaches praise his detailed note-taking, often describing his preparation as veteran level. One offensive assistant told local media he tracks defensive coordinator tendencies like he's playing chess, not football. Outside of team hours, he's continuously working with receivers, building a communication system, adjusting route timing, and demanding extra reps. This isn't someone coasting on talent. This is someone preparing like his back is already against the wall. Of course, the spotlight hasn't left him since college, and neither has Coach Prime. Insiders say Deion stayed in Shedeur's ear the entire offseason, reminding him that in the NFL, nothing is given. Everything has to be earned. After the announcement, Deion released a public statement calling the promotion well-deserved, but also warned critics not to overlook how much work went into the moment. That's what makes this story even more compelling, because Shedeur's not just chasing wins. He's chasing expectations, legacy, and a name that already carries weight. He's playing for a city, a franchise, and a father whose own footsteps are larger than life. And how Shedeur handles that pressure, that could determine everything. This isn't just a quarterback decision, it's a franchise-altering gamble, and the outcome could go one of three directions. Scenario 1, Shedeur Sanders hits the ground running. He thrives under pressure, picks apart defenses, and gives the Browns their first consistent presence at quarterback in over 2 decades. The offense finally opens up. Stefanski looks like a genius. The franchise gets a new face, and the Browns, yes, the Browns, start making noise in the AFC playoff picture. Scenario 2. It's rocky, but there's growth. Shedeur struggles early, like most rookies do, but shows enough flashes to justify the decision. Stefanski preaches patience, ownership doubles down on the new direction, and the city, though uneasy at times, stays mostly supportive. The team hovers around 500, learning on the fly while building for the future. Scenario 3. It completely backfires. The offensive line chemistry falters. Turnovers pile up. Losses mount. Flacco waits quietly in the background until locker room voices start whispering his name. Stefanski's job security disappears almost overnight, and the Browns spiral back into a familiar place. Quarterback chaos, tension up top, and another rebuilding cycle nobody planned for. Here's the scary part. All 3 outcomes are possible, and that's what makes this moment so unique. Cleveland isn't just hoping Shedeur works out, they're banking on it. Because when you draft the spotlight and start at week 1, there's no safety net. You either win early, grow fast, or pay the price. For Stefanski, this gamble is career-defining. For Sanders, it's legacy-shaping. And for the Browns, it's a turning point. If this goes right, they may finally escape their past. But if it goes wrong, it might set the entire franchise back years. The decision's been made. Joe Flacco, the veteran with a Super Bowl ring and over a decade of experience, is now on the sideline. And Shedeur Sanders, the rookie with a famous last name and 0 NFL starts, is now QB1 for a franchise that's been chasing stability for 25 years. There's no going back. For Kevin Stefanski, this choice isn't just bold, it's transformative. He's pushed all his chips into the middle of the table. His philosophy is clear. Best player plays. Resume, be damned. If Shedeur succeeds, Stefanski becomes the coach who changed everything in Cleveland. But if it fails, he may not survive the season. For Shedeur, the expectations are overwhelming. He's not just replacing a quarterback. He's rewriting a narrative, carrying a city, reckoning with a franchise history full of letdowns, false starts, and busts. And through it all, his every move will be dissected, broadcasted, and judged. Not just because of who he is, but who his father is. People will cheer for him to rise. Others will wait for him to fall. And still, the games haven't even started. Week 1 looms against a veteran defense known for confusing even the most seasoned quarterbacks. It's not just a test, it's a baptism by fire. Cleveland has made its move. The fan base is rolling with it. The league is watching closely, and the tension inside that locker room still simmering beneath the surface. Now, it's all about one thing. Can the rookie deliver? Because fair or not, the future of an entire organization may rest on the shoulders of a 21-year-old kid with a cannon arm, elite tape, and a last name too big to ignore. Either he rises, or the city falls right back into the darkness it just thought it escaped.